Bueno. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Back in black, baby, the South Star Classroom. I'm your co-host, Omar Yanad. With us is our queen, our matriarch, the beautiful Jubilee Ransom. Jubilee, how are we doing today?
Doing quite well. I'm doing quite well. Dealing with some, personal stuff, but I'm here. I'm alive and well, and I'm being held up by my beautiful co-host and village. So I'm all good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, despite everything.
We're so happy to see you. We love you.
Yeah,
Doc, the real Dr. Charles Cole, coming in hot, ladies and gentlemen. Like, there's not the agency hoodie. We've got like a solid jacket today and a flower, and the hair's rocking it. What's up, dog? You're looking good, brother. What's up?
I had to go outside today. I had to go do some actual producing. If anybody ever watches the Leader to Leader podcast, I do produce that. That's at a studio, so just getting back from that and in time for the show. We shot 2 episodes. They come out, probably come out like about maybe close to a month or something. But it's just been a busy day. But yes, this jacket will be coming off soon though. So there's that. But thank you for the
getting more casual.
We usually compliment you, brother. You usually compliment the international man of mystery. So take it. I will take it.
You're looking very fly, as they say back in the day.
For 2 seconds. Now it's over.
Now, see that? Now I get to do my radio voice. It's like, now Dr. Charles Cole coming at you with the night hits. Yeah. Our co-host David Castillo, the beard of knowledge and wisdom, is going to be out today. So we love you, brother. Hoping everything goes well, and we will see him next week. Things are still hot as hell in El Paso. Things still hot as hell in Texas. So just quick recap. It's 118 degrees outside. Not really. It's like 105. It's still bananas hot in El Paso.
Yeah, you don't even have to like put extra on it. 105 is a lot. Yeah,
it's a ton. The TEA, the Texas Education Agency, is just taking, man. They are taking up every single district. So we did a show on that a couple episodes back. I would encourage folks to go back into our library on Facebook or YouTube to check out that episode. And it's education season. So they're just like, dude, our governor, Greg Abbott, hysterically is out there trying to talk to people, being like, I'm going to fix education. And his plan for fixing education is literally like what any good school is already doing, which clearly means that he's like out to lunch, has no idea what's going on educationally, which makes sense. Like Governor Hot Wheels, like the man just loves, his like helping out his very rich buddies and like his very rich, intensive agenda, and does not, when taken to task, has no clue about what's really going on educationally, which is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen, because states really have the greatest command over education in the United States. It's a state-by-state policy. Your governor should know a ton about education, and our governor does not. So he just like, I'm going to build these like centers for like culture and learning, and then described what we're doing in our schools already. It's like, Folio, to do that takes money, and you've withheld that money to give to rich people for their vouchers. So maybe, just maybe, you want to, help us out a little bit with the funding that you've been withdrawing and giving to billionaires for your absurd projects. I don't know what's happening in California or Maryland. Maybe similar stuff. Anything cooking in Cali?
Well, it's always some things cooking in California, man. When the district might be taken back over by the state in Oakland. We'll see. They're having financial issues. But even leaving California, just for the record, I don't live very far from there. Flint, not Flint. Flint is probably struggling too. But Gary, Indiana is still without power.
Oh, shit. That's right.
Yeah. And I
don't know if people know about this too, because it's not making a ton of mainstream media, which is insane.
Yeah, so you guys remember when the storm was happening? I told you about it because it impacted in front of my house. There's still some cleanup, but good. Got to keep my power. My aunt lives maybe 10 minutes from me in this Illinois suburb called Hazel Crest. She was out for about a week, and then parts of Gary is still out, and now Memphis just had a storm, and I think Memphis is now still kind of without power. So hopefully it won't be as long. But yeah, it's a lot going on. I don't know if you've ever been to Gary. Gary, they definitely treating them pretty poorly right now. So it's tough. So I was there this weekend. Like I said, it's about 25 minutes for me. So yeah,
you're really close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gary, Indiana is pretty close to Chicago. Like it's a So just for people that don't know how
it's like a suburb.
Huh?
That might be like a suburb.
So I'm in a suburb. So I'm in Dalton. So Dalton is about maybe 10 minutes outside of Chicago. Gary is maybe about, you keep going south, you end up in Northwest Indiana. That is about, like I said, 35 minutes. The Jackson home is like 30 minutes from my house if I put it in my joint. So yeah, and then this morning when I was shooting, I was up north. I was on the north side by where the Cubs play. So you go that way, you're not too far from you're not too far from like Milwaukee and things like that. Chicago is huge. It's a really big landmass, and so I'm in the southern part.
Damn, man. Yeah, Gary, Indiana, like my heart goes deeply out. It's a lot like Flint is a predominantly Black town. I was going to say suburb, but you corrected me on that one. So predominantly Black. It is, in fact, as you astutely said, where the Jackson 5 are from, and where little Michael grew up. But like, it's appalling that it's just being allowed to happen for so long. And, all the three of us on the show know why it's not being allowed, but like why there's not this like incredible sense of urgency. I was like, yeah, man, if this was like Bloomfield Hills in Michigan or Beverly Hills and LA, I bet they have that shit fixed in like 5 hours. And it's dude, whoever, Keanu Reed, it is absolutely criminal what is happening there. That was a very well said comment. So our hearts go out for them. What are we getting into today? It seems a bit disjointed from what's going on in Gary, Indiana. However,
a little bit.
I think it is deeply. But I think it's a microcosm for what I think is systemically going on in the United States. And I found it to be a really interesting article about what I would arguably say is like coming of age for a lot of kids. So there's a great Atlantic article that I encourage folks to go in and check out. And there's ways of checking said article out if you're smart. It's called Even College Students Have Stopped Hanging Out. So there was this really interesting analysis of college students across the country. And really what it came from was at first anecdotal information that college students have been in survey after survey after survey saying like they feel very lonely, they feel very isolated. So there's been some studies and some reporting, and what they found is that ultimately, there are some deep senses of deep senses of loneliness that statistical information is now like finding out. We found that like, socializing across the country has fallen dramatically by about like 10% on college campuses. Even partying has fallen dramatically, which I don't have a huge problem with. But personally, I don't. But what has happened is ultimately they found three major things have happened on a college campus. And one of them I thought was actually quite interesting. The first one is no surprise to anybody. Social media has replaced a ton of face-to-face interaction. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone sees this, but it's always my lament. And I don't just see it in college kids, but I see like when I go out. And Doc, I know you don't go out a whole lot. But Jube, I don't know when
I
you
go out a lot.
out.
I go out a lot professionally, which is why I don't go out a lot privately. So that I'm out all the time.
Well,
but
Doc,
yeah,
when you're out, or Jubilee, when you're out, because I want to make this a bit more anecdotal, not just about the college students. You go to a restaurant, what do you see?
I see a mixture of things. I see lots of people sitting at the bar, independently. I'm usually one of those people.
I like that though.
I see more people dining alone. Of course, I do see small groups of people or have you here or there. But I have seen far more tables for one people sitting at the bar. And I'm usually one of them. So
yeah. Doc?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite restaurant is Virtue in Chicago. It's a beautiful, great restaurant in Hyde Park. I mean, that's usually packed, but it's a big name restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I think. I feel like I see people there though. I feel like I see, couples, regulars, things like that. I'm one of those people. I like to do that too, Jude, where I kind of go by myself, get a little work done, have a good meal. But usually, if I want to eat with people, I'm usually going to pay. So I like eating alone. It's great. When you're a pretty lady, you're getting fed. You know what I'm saying? When you're a guy, you are paying.
There's a lot of people hollering at you.
Different. Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, right.
You live a different life and a different reality than the rest of us live. I had that conversation recently with my mom and my sister.
But I guess now that you're making me think of it, I mean, they are adults. I mean, again, but it's not like it's not super expensive, but it's not a cheap restaurant. So I don't know if I'm messing up the example, but I was trying to be honest in what I saw. I was like, what do I see?
No, not at all. Because I think what I see isn't just kind of what Jubilee said, the social component. A lot of people alone. What I see is a lot of people, but then they're all on their phones. I see the phone is out, and I see couples, and just excuse me for a second, like this. They're sitting, covering their face.
Yeah, no interaction.
Sitting in front of, their spouse or their kids, and just they're on the phone. Kids are on the phone. Kids are on the iPad. And ultimately, that is what is happening in college, is that kids are literally running into each other physically because they're not seeing one another and hitting each other physically, and then don't know how to act. So the rise of the phone and social media has led to this one reason, that this precipitous drop in social interactions in college are dwindling. This one I found to be actually really interesting. So these clubs and these extracurriculars that, I remember in college being a ton of fun. So like I was in a fraternity, I played extracurricular tennis. I was in a lot of clubs, and the clubs were fun. But now these clubs have become like jobs. And I mean jobs as in like you have to apply to get into this club and get accepted. Which is like, what? The whole point of the club was like, everybody got in and everyone got to hang out. That's why varsity sports existed. That was where you try out and don't get in. These clubs are essentially saying, nope, not here. We're only taking the creme de la creme for this club, because it's essentially become such a building block for jobs and resume building, that then it becomes not play, but work. And that differentiation is a big differentiation, because it makes them feel even lonelier, because they're showing up to this with a intention of doing what they need to do and then getting out so they can get back on their phone at home, versus actually socializing and problem solving and kind of having free play. It was kind of interesting, like this USC administrator had said that the University of Southern California has more than 1,000 clubs, yet students are made extraordinarily lonely. And the solution isn't more programming. It's creating an environment of like unstructured social interaction. David would love this, because this is like Montessori, right? And then third reason, surprise, surprise, COVID. And one of the things that really hit, two major things with COVID But one of them that hit me hard was like, oh shit, that's a really good point. Is that because of COVID, a lot of lectures are now recorded. And I remember them recording lectures back in the day, but that was not a typical thing. But it's like, oh shit, yeah. Just getting up, getting out of your dorm room, seeing people in the hallway, seeing people at breakfast, seeing people at lunch in the dining hall, in the dining club, on your way to class, all of those social interactions, which are little microtransactions and fun things that we're all used to, gone because the kid's just sitting in their room and watching the lecture.
Yeah.
Or like if they're not living at the college, they're not even leaving their apartment. They're just getting it all online and doing whatever they need to do there. Staying in pajamas, eating Cheerios, and just doing that versus the whole component of getting up, going and moving out and being around folks. I thought that was huge. And then, of course, these kids were in middle school. So a lot of the studies have found that kind of necessary skill sets of social interaction, problem solving, and learning to deal with I would say, mores of social work kind of didn't develop. So it's like they have no idea what they're doing. And I can tell you, as a 46-year-old man who, has friends, is social, goes out, and sometimes I go out to some bars or whatever, I look at these kids just struggling. Like, they don't know how to talk. They don't know what they're doing. It's just they're showing each other memes and videos, and like that's their social interaction. But that's not actually technically social interaction. It's a very different thing to share ideas about comic books. It's another thing to just kind of like watch videos. So that all kind of begs the very, first question is, have we turned college from a place where these young people develop as human beings and develop as people, which I felt like I did, into just 4-year resume building competitions? What do we think about the state of both college and the social interaction of kids at college?
Right of refusal, Jude?
Yeah.
I got some thoughts. Yeah. And I was letting Jude, pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the latter. I think it's 4 years of resume building, competition, not because it has to be, but because first of all, COVID happened. We didn't like any of the stuff in the beginning of COVID. And then we created a new world, new habits, right? Like, I remember Zachary, he was in the 3rd grade, to tell that boy he's going to stay home and watch a teacher or go and open a file, and that's how he's going to submit his work. It's like, I'm not going to get to see my friends. I'm not going to get to see my teacher. I'm not going to have recess. What? Hated it. Fast forward to that. If you told that boy, hey, look, you could socialize, you can go, you'll do your marching band, but school, it'll be on a computer. You just got to log in. He'd love it. And I think that wasn't just for kids. I think that was for a lot of us, when it was like, wait, there's an easier way. We don't have to interact with people. We don't have to go outside. We can engage in deep text and deep academic discourse in our jammies. That's dope. Love it. Let's keep it going. But I think, none of us, I don't think we counted the cost. I do think we saw the writing on the wall in terms of what would happen because of our use of social media, what would happen because these kids were born with iPads in their hand. I think we saw the writing on the wall. But I don't think we really understood like how detrimental it would be in the long run, enough to balance it out and be like, we cannot afford to let these things go. And I think it's happened across K-12. I think it's happened post-secondary that we didn't balance out the plane. Like, we let the plane go like this, and now we're like, oh no, we're trying to yeah. So I think that's what it is. Go for it, Charles.
Oh no, it's all good. I just watched. I'm late to the party, but I just watched this movie Eddington. I don't know if y'all seen Eddington But it's basically this movie set in COVID by Ari Aster, and it has Joaquin Phoenix, and it has what's the brother he's in everything right now. He's the father on he's in what is his name? Anyway, whatever.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro, yeah. It's an interesting
Pedro
movie.
Pascal, the Mandalorian and shit.
And you either hate the movie or you love it, and I know why, because it's very polarizing, because it gives us a look at how we were. He kind of skewers both the anti-vaxxer people and the super right wing and the super left wing, and kind of talks about this thing that we've created. But COVID owns a lot, but to shoot, not to shoot COVID some bail, but even before then, though, like, again, we just started, people got raised different now, and it's just very different. We don't have the society where kids are sent outside and told to go play. We don't have one where, you have to, like, even I loved video games my entire life, but I couldn't come home straight after school and play them. Like, right. My parents would be like, go outside. Like, you got to go outside. You got to go do this. We don't really make people interact anymore. I think people are kind of scared of each other. I think there's also the great correction that we've done, right? Okay, the 80s and 90s was wild, cool, right? You could say they were wild or whatever, but now, like, people are worried about, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I'm a creep? Or hey, if I'm a girl and I like this guy and he doesn't like me back, and now it's on social media. Like, again, like, we now live in a society where people are performing for cameras, all day, all the time, and don't want to make a mistake. And again, you got access to, there isn't much of a regional kind of feel of certain things anymore, because you can open your phone and you can be in Mexico, you can be in Paris, you can see what somebody's doing in Dubai, and it's and I think everybody's on this quest for perfection or for it's just a different vibe, right? Like, and now and even less with, like, trusting. So it's either that, or it's either, hey man, I'm a Republican and I hate these Democrats, or I'm a Democrat and I hate these Republicans, or I'm this. And people are really overly concerned with their brands in different ways, and in college is a breeding ground for that. Like, hell, that's a big problem at colleges, but that also goes hand in hand with, I saw somebody crying on video from Cal Berkeley because a speaker was coming to talk. I think it was when Candace Owens was going and talking. And again, you ain't gotta like Candace Owens. I don't care about Candace Owens, but I don't know if I gotta cry. Like, and you're Cal, right? Like, so you're Berkeley. Like, that don't even make sense. And so again, this is what you get. The same way we were talking about these storms, right? And these derechos, and we just had 30 to 40 derecho / tornadoes across Illinois and Indiana. That's global warming, and that's what we're starting to see. And I think there's this social global warming that's been happening, and this is the fallout. This is like, people don't know how to talk to each other, and it's and it's different. Those kids are now adults and becoming adults, and I think that a generation after them will be the opposite. You know how they say, like, generations kind of revolt and rebel.
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to be this next generation or a generation after where they're going to be super social again. But we kind of got soft. We kind of got people got them do it. But well, and you gotta give some of the parents some smoke though, right? Like, again,
that's what you were saying.
I'm saying, so here's when I say we, I'm saying, like, every entity that has any ounce of influence over how children function, learn, socialize, whether it is the mosque, the church, your daycare, your school, your after school program, your household, your family function, the kids on the block, like, all of the, I know, and we all know, right? 80s and 90s, yes, to the point, go outside, play, interact, and all of that, mix, mingle, go jump double dutch, play with the click clackers, go walk down the block, go to the store. I mean, it was just a part of life. And I guess in those days, there wasn't anything pressing against that socializing or socialization part. I think when I say we allowed it, it's because we saw it coming. Like I said earlier, we didn't necessarily know what the full fallout would be, but we had the power to say, put that damn thing down and write and then turn and talk And you, Jubilee, tell Charles what you think about this text, this experience, that make a connection. Like that was a deep part of, classroom instruction, right? And if you go anywhere, if there's good instruction happening, it's still happening. I told you I sit in my son's classroom. Okay. And I'm like, what? Type this in. No real socialization, no true peer discussion, interaction. And I'm just saying that there are several entities responsible for like holding these pieces of interaction and culture and within its expectations. But if we leaned on what was easier or what became common and we didn't push back, now we have what we have. And I think we had a space where we could push back. And now instead of us having to push back, it's like we have to reorient. And now we're seeing policies that are saying, well, the cell phone bans are getting stronger, state to state. We're seeing that.
I'm for the ban. So I'm
not mad
this
at
is
it.
why I'm for the bans. This is why.
I'm just saying when you let the pendulum swing too far in either direction, then you have to sometimes correct or overcorrect just to get it balanced, right? So you got the cell phone bans, but then you've also got, like in my district, I don't know if it's in y'all's, we're going back, we're using more paper pencil. So instead of these Chromebooks, now schools are responsible for increasing the time that they have scholars spending writing and using paper and pencil and not Chromebooks and face-to-face interaction. So to your point, Charles, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, Doc, you were about to hit into be like, these parents deserve some smoke.
A little bit.
I agree with you.
Give it to them.
I agree with you. Because like, look, I go out and I think about my niece Alea, right? And this is just anecdotal, but it's a microcosm. And I've had these conversations with different parents, and it's like, I get it, dude. You're out, you're eating, you just want like the kid to be quiet. This is the time to throw them the tablet, so on and so forth. But like, I remember there were moments where I walk into a restaurant, that's all I see.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kid on the tablet, parents on their phones. I'm like, why are you out? Like, why are you here? Like, why are you at Texas Roadhouse or Denny's or any of these joints if you're going to do that? And the conversations that I have with like my niece is like, and my sister and brother-in-law is like, no, hell no, dude. Like, she's doing homework. She's listening in on these conversations and she's trying to think about what we're talking about. I think about the fact that when I was growing up and my dad's friends were all talking, I would sit in on those conversations. I found them fascinating. Like some of the things I didn't understand because they were clearly very adult themed, but I was listening to words. I was listening to ideas. I was listening to thoughts, and these conversations were fascinating about like travel and politics and thought trains and talking about Reagan. And that was instrumental because A, I remember it. B, I look back and I'm like, oh shit, like that actually had an effect, a positive effect. And I think a lot of parents are just like, I get it. Like you're tired, you're tired too. So you're just kind of dialing it in. And when I talk to parents at the school, I was like, dude, do you read to your kid? No, we haven't read a book. And I was like, try just everybody in the house reading for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And I get it. My parents work 3 jobs. They're busy, but just the quick levels of interaction make such a huge differentiation for these kids and for everybody else. And then what we're doing is just normalizing this kind of no one's talking to each other. Now I'm privileged as all living shit, as you all know. Like, Doc calls me the international man of mystery, but I got to tell you, when I go out of the country, and that could be Mexico, Canada. I was recently in Scotland, Ireland, and England. I've been to Italy a lot. Ain't no one on their phones, y'all.
Yep.
Ain't no one on their phones. So in Italy, those kids are like playing soccer. The parents are eating, and the kids are all like interacting with one another. They finished eating. They finished listening to the conversation. They all get to go play with one another and chill. But parents on the phones, kids not on the phone. Same thing across all these countries. Hell, kids are at these Irish pubs just like shooting the shit, drawing and coloring and reading their comic books. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what's up. And I'm really beginning to think that this is also a thing in the US. So that kind of leads me to the second question. This whole thing with loneliness in the universities, is this a failure of the university itself? Kind of like we were using Chromebooks too much in the classroom, which I've scaled back on myself. Or is this a symptom of a much larger American cultural problem?
I would say I always got smoke for schools. I always got smoke for our education system. But I think those are microcosms of a larger thing. I think as a society, there were just these huge shifts. And I think that everybody got holier than thou. I saw one of the comments say, poor characters should take more of the blame than devices, but there's always been assholes. Assholes have always been around. They've never, but now because everything is behind the screen and you ain't gotta talk to nobody. Listen, man, when I was a kid, you just learned things socially, right? Like, and this is gonna sound like a plea for bullying, but it's not, but hear me out, right? Like, there were social things that you learn. You say the wrong thing to somebody, and now y'all nose to nose. Maybe it turns into a fight. Maybe it doesn't. Yep. You get punched in your mouth.
Now you know. That's right.
Now you know.
Now you got. We just taught him a lesson.
You know what I'm saying? Or like if you're a young man and they talk about this loneliness epidemic, like if you see a pretty girl you like, you have to go and talk. You have to introduce yourself, and it's okay. So what if she doesn't like you? It's okay. You're supposed to. That's part of it, right? Like you asked what you see at the bar. That's what you used to see at the bar, Omar. It's like people, and it's not even just a heteronormative thing. If you're a guy that likes guys or a girl that likes girls, like you have to still go.
Just got to go and approach.
They're so afraid of rejection, and to be fair, in this time, the rejection turns into this other thing. You know what I'm saying? It turns into a story on social media. It turns into that. So again, everybody is trying to present their best self because they're now monitored all the time. It's just, I'm so glad that there wasn't social media when I was a kid and when my parents, I'm just very glad that I could never see my parents on social media as a kid doing dumb shit that being very selfish and not thinking about their kids. So what I'm saying is there's so many different social factors. And then you add in COVID, which was an accelerant just on top of stuff. And now you have 4 years, 3 or 4 years in that type of during your most development times, you know what I mean? It's just we're in a different space, and I think you have to do some of these things. And this is part of what I was saying about the cell phone ban. I was in California. I went to California right after that because now it's law, it's legal there. And you could see it on the news. They talked to some kids, and it was really 50-50. It was interesting, right? Some kids was like, I don't know if we should do that or whatever. And some kids was like, I think I like it. I think I'm enjoying, if I need to call my mom, I can just grab the bag and whatever, go to the office. They have protocols for emergencies, but it's been interesting, right? And I think that's go touch some grass. Yes. Listen, man, Chub is in New York. I'm in the Chicago area, but grew up in the Bay. These are metropolitan, huge cities. If Omar has a pass for the train, he's free if he comes to Chicago. He can go wherever. One of my favorite things about going to New York is just getting on the train and exploring. The same thing in London. You get on the tube and you just are yo, I can be here or I can be here. And then especially with them having the speed trains, the Eurostar, I went from my hotel room in Paris and got on and jogged to the train station, took that to to Eurostar, and then 2 hours later I'm in London. You see what I'm saying? So again, and you're talking to people on trains, and people are talking to you, and so schools they're gonna get their fair share. We give them a lot on this show, but this is cultural, and we gotta snap people out of that.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with you. I think I would give school some of it, but I would give more to home. I think home is if you're blessed to come from a good home. I know not everybody does, but I think as parents we have been tempted to take the easy way out, right? By way of iPad and cell phones, right? Quiet time, you're tired. It's constantly feeding your kid fast food. Like, we know that's not good. You got to have some healthy home cooked meals, but fast food's easier. It's right there. It's a drive through. Let's get them fast food every single night, 7 days a week. Says probably no parent ever, right? Because we know that long term, that's not going to be good, right? That kid is not going to be healthy.
Shit.
So we make
there are parents that feed their kids fast food every day. Absolutely.
Yep.
Especially with there are. Absolutely.
Okay. Do you think that they are aware of
I don't think it's good.
No, I know you don't think it's good, but I'm saying, do you think that they are aware of what happens when you do that long term?
No.
Or short term, because it really only takes 30 days and then your blood work come back looking crazy. So, do you think they're aware of that?
I don't think they know. And I think that a lot of folks are forced into these food decisions because of just money and time, right?
Yeah.
And food deserts and everything else. I will say this, like, having heard you two, I will go in the opposite direction and say, yeah, like, I'm with you all. Of course, like, it's a huge societal issue, but I'm going to put a little smoke on the colleges too. And I'll start with the fact that I think it's absolutely effing ridiculous that some kid that's privileged enough to go to UC Berkeley, one of the very best schools in the country, if not the world, crying about like someone coming to speak, like, fucking go.
Right.
You're crying about this?
Or
like,
go be a college student, go boo or something. Or whatever, like, go do something.
Like, I showed up to what was called Big Game, the Stanford Berkeley football game that we have every year. It's a massive rivalry. It's fun as hell. And I showed up my first year. We were playing at Cal, and I'm not lying. It was like the most stereotypical Cal Berkeley shit. Women were burning bras in protest of football and its masculinity and its stupidity and all this shit. And I was like, man, this is awesome. This is like what college is all about. Like, I gotta see some kid reading Nietzsche over there.
Punish me
There's
some
a
more,
protest
please.
over here.
Please
There's
punish
a
me some
party
more.
over here. I was just like, this is the best, dude. Like, this is what I signed up for and shit. And like, I interacted with them and I talked. I was like, tell me about this. They're like, football sucks. I was like, how does burning your bra help? Like, aren't you polluting the environment?
Right.
And they're like, football's polluting our minds. And I'm like, well, I don't know. What's that bra made out of? I feel like you're just kind of throwing out a bunch of pollutants. They didn't care for that very much. But it was funny. And it was part of this social interaction. I think that's ridiculous. Like, if I were a university president who wasn't scared to death of the kids, I've done my own social media and be like, you know what we used to cry about? Poverty. We used to cry about getting punched in the face for making the comments you all make on social media because you think you're invincible.
But like,
you know what we used to cry about? Death and losing a loved one. You're sitting here crying about Candace Owen or whoever the hell coming to your school. Dude, Ice-T came to Stanford to come talk. And sadly, I didn't get to see this. This is hearsay from my sister and my brother-in-law, who were both in the audience when they were at school there. And some woman, I'm trying to remember the exact story, gets up and just starts like talking shit. And cool, because that's her right to free speech, but it's also like a conversation and she's disrupting that ability. And Ice-T's like, yo, man, like, are you out of your goddamn mind? You're sitting here talking shit. You're some Stanford kid about a rapper singing a song about the prevalence of Black violence in the community. And what are you going to do? Go work for your hedge fund? Go work for your trust fund after this? You're pissed off at me? Go fuck yourself, dude. Sorry, Mama Toya. Like, you should be out solving these problems and not sitting here bitching that some entertainer who's on Law and Order is having a conversation about the music he made in an environment you know nothing about. Why don't you come to where I grew up and then you can cry? Universities have gotten soft as shit. That is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, they have gotten soft as shit. And I don't even think they're getting just soft as shit. I think that they are acquiescing to outrageous student behavior.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, if kids are out protesting, protect them. We did an episode on that. If some kid's crying about someone coming, make a comment and be like, hey, this is America. Don't go. Like, just don't go. But hey, you're crying that physics is so hard. It's supposed to be hard. Like, right. Why didn't you prepare for that
but
shit?
Again, but we overcorrected so much from the 80s and 90s. Overcorrected so much. And I think that's the thing. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna appeal to college students right now because it's your time. It is y'all's time. And I will say this: y'all are smarter and more advanced in so many different ways. And we handed, well, not we, I ain't got no kids, but you were handed certain things in certain ways. And I get that. But now you're grown. Now you are at a time where you get to break away and you get to kind of explore and do things, right? Like I've been getting, so let me, if I'm talking to college students, for instance, maybe don't take your parents to your first week of classes at college. No, I'm serious.
Right.
It's a real thing. Hey man, maybe don't bring your parents into your job interview or your interview for college, right? And the adults or the job have to shut that shit down too and are like, no, they're grown. The same thing that happens when the parent drops that kid off to kindergarten the first day and the teacher has to walk out and they have to say, it's okay, Miss Jubilee, we have him. I need you to go to your car now. You gotta go. And you could be crying and snotty as you should, right? You're a mom, but you're handing them to somebody or a place that's like, we got it. And now that's where we kind of are in universities. And I think the other thing is the policies that are on these campuses and in these places, they don't allow for humans to actually have negative, normal interactions with each other and deal with it. Everybody is all that's moderated. Like, man, I would get into arguments and fights with my friends and we'd fight and wrestle and then we go back outside and then we'd like fix it and we'd play. There wouldn't be an online campaign. There wouldn't be these things. And I think I'm just trying to tell these college kids, look, man, we're giving you shit, but it's in kind of jest. But you got to determine who you all want to be and what you want to be able to do. Because what does it profit you to be so great on the computer, but you can't talk human?
Yeah.
You can only talk cell phone. You can't talk human, right? Like I talk to people and they speak to me as if they're texting. Instead of saying for real, they say FR. The fuck did you just say to me? Like, we're talking.
IDK,
we're talking.
IDC.
Yeah, like we like OMG, like, okay, all right. And again, but it's and that movie Eddington just shows the level on both sides. And a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of critics didn't like it. And a lot of staunch liberal critics and a lot of staunch conservative critics didn't like it because it's a reflection of them. It's a reflection of them. And it calls us all out a little bit. Like, you know what? I wore the mask and I did it because I thought people were going to die. And there was some shit where I probably, wiping down, bags and stuff. Hey, I got to look at myself. It was taking a precaution, but I can also admit, yeah, man, shit was wild because it was a wild time. And so I just think that we have to push people to interact and do those things and not baby them. People can fall and scrape their knee. They'll be okay. It'll be okay.
It will be. I have a question though, because now I'm thinking about this on both sides, right? You said something earlier, Omar, about let me just ask my question. Do you think that the hanging out has become more transactional than truly social? Because
it's a great question.
So like, I don't know what it was that you said in the beginning, it'll come back to me, but I'm like, okay, if I'm in a class with four others, a group with four other students, and I know that we have to work together to get this assignment done or whatever. And if we all don't pitch in, we won't get the A or whatever, right? I'm going to do it. I don't like y'all. I don't actually care about your dog foo-foo, we just working together to get this done and we're done. I'm probably never going to talk to you again. And I think we've all done group work, so we know how it works, right? But I think sometimes what would happen when you end up working with people is that you make a friend, you end up seeing them after, right? You might have a budding relationship, a friendship that comes out of that, right? But the group work or the peer group, that kind of created an opportunity for that to happen, right?
Yes, exactly.
Additionally, when I'm thinking about just socialization, just because we are at the same place at the same time, having a similar experience, and I can't get anything out of it from you, and you can't get anything out of it from me outside of enjoyment. Mm-hmm. Whether we do it again, whether we don't, it's purposeless. It's just for the point we are riding our bikes together because we all like to ride bikes and we're doing it together. And that was the joy of it, right? So I guess that's my question is like, where do you feel like, based on what the data is saying, college kids are falling? Like, is it like, look, I'm an introvert, I don't really want to talk to you, and I know introvert is a whole nother topic, right? We're going to do this project, get out the way. If I can stay in my room all day, I will. Like, I don't see the value in connecting and socializing and all of that versus where I think the world we came from, where it was like, we play together. Like we like jumping double dutch. We like running. We like, crocheting or whatever. And so we're just together because we enjoy each other's company and we like to do some of the same things.
I mean, it's a great question. And I want to be mindful of everyone's time because I've got 3 quick, really interesting answers that go right back to the article. So on one end, what this professor at USC in the article was saying, and a bunch of other professors were saying, is like, oh yeah, it's becoming radically transactional, meaning at least at college, because these interactions are so much about either class or the club or resume building or getting into this next place or doing this job, they're curating who they're speaking with and what they're getting out of it so much that it's become, and no wonder they're lonely. And this is exactly the kind of like the thesis of the statement is like, you're socially interacting, but it's not that healthy kind of social interaction, which will lead to question 3 about just having fun. It's radically transactional. But the professor said, or excuse me, the article said something really fascinating. And I don't want to jump over this. They were like, kids are talking. And what Doc said is right. They're talking and they have the most expressive and articulate ability to express their emotions that we've ever seen in like modern day history. They are able to articulate what makes them sad, what makes them angry, but it has become this overcorrection of here, let's just pour out all of our emotions and not how are you causing them? How is the other person affected? How are you checking yourself? It's become an echo chamber of, I feel this and I feel that. Like, well, I feel this and I feel that. Instead of like, oh, I feel you. I got that. Here's what happened to me when that happened. And this is kind of how I corrected it. Or have you thought about this person's perspective about this?
Yes.
That kind of social correction and exercise. Because what Doc said is funny. And it is a it's not that super exaggerated in the 80s and 90s. We got into fights and shit. But it's a good cause of like, would you say what you just said on the computer to somebody in person?
You wouldn't, right? You mean mother puckers. I hate
well said.
People like, you would never say that, Daryl. You would never say that. It's in his face. Stop it, you little troll. Sorry.
And then the third thing kind of leads into this next question, which I actually think is fun, and I wish David was here to talk about it. But the question is like, and let me expand on it a bit. Have we forgotten that fun can be educational? Not that education can be fun, because I believe in that. I'm talking, have we forgotten that just like you said, Jubilee, riding bikes together just for the sake of riding bikes and being with one another can actually be fun? Like, when we eliminate these transactions that you're talking about, have we forgotten that partying, spontaneity, boredom, dating, taking risks, riding bikes, all of that stuff is actually incredibly productive to our growth and our ability to problem solve with one another, because we've replaced them with like highly curated activities that are like, well, my kid needs this sucker and my kid needs this flute and my kid needs this and my kid needs that. And like, because I see it happening in schools and it's happening in college. What'd you all have to say about that? House Party. What up, Alonzo? That's one of my favorite movies, brother. That's how I did Dolomite, was House Party.
I'll go after Jube. Go ahead.
I learned how not to take a Friday class in college.
Yo,
I spent 4
that's smart
years,
as hell, though.
no Friday classes. And to me, it was quite strategic, right? It was why? Because I was part of a dance troupe, and I also like to go to Thursday night parties. I was going to all the parties. I went to Thursday night party, Friday night party. If they have one on Saturday, that might do a little worship on Sunday or do a little brunch, right? But 3-4 nights in a row, I was going to the parties, right? And so I learned how to strategize, right, to organize my schedule so I would never have either a Friday class or an 8:30 a.m. class, right? That to me is a part of education. That is the strength, or what the experience that you get when you go to school and you have this experience that someone else is not controlling for you, but that you as a young adult are cultivating that. Right. For someone else, it might be something else. Parties and socializing and dancing, that was valuable to me. And so I figured out how to create a life that would allow me to do what I enjoy. Right. And I think by the time you get to college, you should be able to do that. Right. With whatever speaks to you, So I say all that to say don't bring your parents to your interviews, to school. Right. We don't need them. Right. We do need to let these young people go and create. But my question still remains, and I know we won't get to it today. What do they value? Because if you don't know what you value, what you care about, then I don't think you'd be orchestrating a life or a social life that connects to that. And I'm wondering if maybe that's lost.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'll add this. I'll just add in two experiences as a kid. Whether on my block there was always in Oakland, we was either playing. I had a basketball hoop, or we was playing football in the street. And like if there was a fight, there was a code. Like you don't go run and tell your parents unless something crazy or egregious, or whatever. But you don't.
Yeah.
And even if you got beat up and you came in the house, my dad or hey, take your ass back outside. You gotta go back outside, and you can't run from things. They didn't articulate it like that. It was really more like you want to fight them or fight me. But it was good. But then the other thing, one of my favorite things, and you mentioned Stanford, so I'll mention Berkeley. Me and my brother, my homie, he's like my brother. Our favorite thing on a Saturday. Look, when we got a bus pass, we were like, it was just the access to freedom throughout the entire Bay Area. There was no taxi. You weren't catching a taxi. There was no Uber. So we get on the bus. We go into Berkeley on the Telegraph, and like that's where UC Berkeley is. But like we would go play ball at People's Park, and we playing with adults and other people, and you getting your skills up. And then afterwards, you would go to it. We would go to Amoeba and Rasputin, and they had, I don't know if people know Amoeba and Rasputin. Those are two music stores,
record stores,
and you could go listen to music. But this is where, and you see people on the corner, especially in like Berkeley. And during that time, they rapping, they doing stuff. And then we would go to Blondie's or Fat Slice. I was more of a Fat Slice guy for like $2 to get this huge piece of pizza and a pop. And we with our people, with our friends. You run into other friends. You run into people.
Exactly.
And you see people. And then, well, what y'all about to go do? Well, so it's a house party later tonight. All right, cool. It's about 5. It's about 4:35 now. I gotta go home. We gotta go back home. We gotta shower. Yes. Yeah, we get what I'm saying. And then there was this other place, people, and it was called the mall. And you would go to the mall. My God, and the mall used to be popping. Like you would get dressed for the mall. It wasn't just the Heathers. It wasn't just white people. It was like the mall used to be a place. And again, and like I remember Family Matters, or one of those shows did a whole episode like at the mall, right? Because that was such an epicenter. And I know those might sound archaic or be dead. But what it did is it made us socialize. We had to navigate the city. You had to navigate different situations. You had to, and that, like Julie said, it's part of your education. It's part of like, and you learn, right? And you learn really quick. And again, and things were okay for the most part. And you go home and you had a full adventure. And I think that is done. And we are so guarded of these kids, and like it's actually safer today than it was then. If you look at crime data, it's actually significantly safer, even with all the crazy shit that makes it on the news. And like that's what I'm saying. Like, go explore your city. And if you're a parent and your kid is like damn near 20 and they don't know how to operate like public transportation and things like that, like that's one of those things, man. And so anyway, that's that's all I got, man. That's all I got. You know?
I love it, man. And we're about to close out. We got like 5 minutes left, so I'll leave you all with just kind of last thoughts and questions. But I want to say this, just for our audience, for everybody else. I think this is a perfect. Again, I love the word microcosm for what the United States is exceptionally good at, which is overcorrection. Now, I am not saying go out and party your ass off and do nothing but social stuff, because like my buddies in college, like I couldn't believe some of the shit that they were doing.
Right.
I was like, wait, you woke up, didn't go to class, maybe went to one class, played video games, and then like went out and partied every night? Like, when did you read?
Right.
You didn't. When did you study? You didn't. I was like, holy hell. All I remember doing was like being on. It's like, yeah, there were parties, there were social things, but even then I was like, yo, I got to get up. I got to study. I got to read for this. I've got midterms coming up. Like it was this constant pressure of, yeah, like I got 1,000 pages that I've got to sort through for this one class, for this one midterm. And all of that reading and all of that thinking, I think.
Oh, we lost him right in the moment. Hopefully he'll be able to pop back in. I'll let him back in. But
probably in Italy right now.
But you know what I will say? I will say this as he comes back. Like I'm giving everybody homework, right? Like go find just try to find a new social group. You ain't, and I'm somebody that don't love going out, but like even how Jube and you know, my grandmother used to crochet, so I love that conversation I was having. But you know, maybe she finds a crochet group or something, you know what I'm saying? And like does that. And you know, I have my book club that I do every single week, and we used to do it in person, but I just moved away. But like, you know, push yourself, man. Go out and explore and go do those things. So that's my homework to other people. Go do something socially.
I agree.
It's the wrong button and kick myself out. Sorry, y'all.
We held it down for you. I gave while you left, I gave the group homework, so you're good. I gave everybody else homework to go find a new social group. So Jube is gonna go find a crocheting group, you know, and we're gonna see her progress.
I find, listen, because I relocated, I had to figure stuff out because I literally knew like 2 people down here. I stepped into this group down here called DMV Does, and that's all it's about, like getting people connected. I found dance groups, any kind of group you could think of, people that like to make loose tea, you know, like candles, candle making.
Oh, the real thing, man. Candle making is fun.
Travel groups, you know, they're out there, and I do think we need to bring it back and keep it. And this is something that I also pass on to my sons, right? Like no man is an island unto himself. I don't care what these people say about these damn cell phones and devices. People need people, right? Even if it is just, I think if we understood that, the loneliness, you know, the data around loneliness, it would improve, right? Less people would be if we understood, wait, I spoke to somebody a few weeks ago and they were like, I work from home. And this is a lot of people's scenario. I work from home. I speak to no one all day long, like not even virtual meetings. My job is just on the computer submitting. I speak to no one. I go nowhere. There is no reason for me to leave the house. And I think there's way too many people, young people included, that's their story, you know, and we need to really break that and encourage that. And schools can do it. Universities can do it. Communities can do it. Anybody who has influence over young people can make that, you know, can hold that line, you know. So those are my final thoughts.
Right on, man. I'm sad I missed the homework assignment.
Well, I mean, I'll do my final thought. I think my final thought is this. I mean, there's just a thing about balance, right? Like you don't have to. I'm a professionally social person, but I don't like doing it personally. But I know how to do it, and I know how to hold a room. I know how to hold a conversation. I know how to get lost in the city and wander through a city. I love going to New York. I love even with me living in the suburbs. It's really cool because even though I live in the Chicago area, I get to go in and like I can experience it that way if I want, you know, and like go and do those things and go talk to people, man, and like, you know, and and here's the thing, it's okay if you get rejected. It's okay if it's it's fine. It's a part of life. It's a part of life, and we internalize that stuff and think something's super wrong with us or somebody can think you're a weirdo. So what? So what? Like again, and we got to start correcting the ship. You know what I'm saying? To get because it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. It happened in those ways. And so, and that's why y'all heard me talk about the boys that play basketball in my garage. I mean, on my court. I love when they come and do it. I give them some small rules and I stay out their way. Even when they got little disagreements, I can hear, you know what I'm saying? But like, if ain't nobody getting super bullied or something crazy, and even if there is a little bit of bullying, I got to let it play out a little bit because I need, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll come in and we'll talk about it. So again, I want to see kids back in the street, playing football. I want to see girls double dutching, and I want to come down outside and see the hopscotch shit drawn in front of on my sidewalk and be fake mad about it. And I think that's how you start to change this stuff, and that's how you start to be building a real community again. Yes. And I think we'll start to see these things change once we encourage that. Send them kids outside, man. They'll be okay.
They will be. They will be.
Indeed, man. I think we're almost at time, but I'll wrap it up very quickly and say that the overcorrection, which I was saying before I kicked myself out, is something that we do too much. And I want to leave kind of a pending thought for all y'all. Is the problem not just in higher education, but with all of us, that we're working too hard, but all the wrong things? Mm-hmm. I don't think kids or people aren't working hard enough. I think that they're working hard at all the wrong things, because I just had that conversation with one of my principals today. I was like, y'all are working hard, but you're exasperating yourself on all the wrong techniques. Mm. And, I get that, I think, Mama Toya was like, some of these people ain't worth talking to. But I've spoken with you on the show, Mama Toya. You are social. You can handle yourself in the room.
Yeah, she's super
and
social.
I think this is where you're saying, Doc, and Jubilee saying is, this doesn't need to be all-time party, and it doesn't need to be all-time isolation, but we need these skill sets, because at the end of the day, systems ain't going to solve everything. People solve everything. People are building those systems, and teamwork builds these systems. And your homework might not just be to do what Doc said. Go and watch Ted Lasso if you can. Watch seasons 1 through 3 of Ted Lasso and understand what the story is trying to tell you, which is ultimately that it all revolves around people and our relationships to one another. Mm-hmm. Yes, so be kind to one another, be nice to one another. On behalf of our co-host, Jubilee Ransom, the Dr. Charles Cole III, the beard of knowledge and wisdom, David Castillo, I'm Omar Yanar. We will see you next time, same bat channel. As they said back in the day, same bat time. Peace. Bueno.